Unfortunately, the world does not revolve around us. It's a shame. I'm sorry to be the one breaking you this news, but because of that, that's why I have this podcast. We just sit back, relax, daydream. You hear about people's lives, and I encourage you to daydream and just see what happens if you were to have your heads in the clouds. Play pretend. Why not? Is it therapist recommended to do this during tragedy or tough times? Probably not, but thank God I'm not a therapist. So bringing in other people to do that is probably maybe not ethical, but I don't know. We're in this journey together. We're figuring it out. So sorry in advance if this encourages some sort of negative coping mechanism. But it's just for fun. It's just for play. It's just a few minutes. I'm not encouraging everyone to just go totally delulu 24/7. Now that is where I think it might get a little unethical. But I don't know. I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last time. And that's fine. That is life. That's being human. It's called learning from your mistakes. It's called growing, evolving, development, whatever you want to call it. It's just the evolution of life. But this is Audrey's world. So welcome, especially if you're new and listening. Wow, that was quite the intro for you to get a little glimpse of me on. So welcome. This week's episode is very special. I mean, they're all special in their own ways. All of my guests are unique and great, and I think inspiring for different reasons. So hopefully you see that as a trend amongst the guests. This week is certainly no different. This week I had one of my childhood besties. Literally, the girl who grew up across the street from me is on today. So the tea is being spilled about what I was like as a child. Just kidding. You'll have to find that out another way. But it was so fun to catch up with Hailee, especially because my family doesn't live on that street anymore. So it was great to catch up, see her, learn what's been happening in her life, and obviously reminisce on some of our memories and our family's memories. I love the podcast because of that. It's a great way to reconnect with people or dive a little deeper. And it's great to have that one-on-one time. Like, I don't know, anymore there's typically so many distractions, possibly with phones, or if you're in a group with people, or even if there's one other person in the convo, it goes a different direction, which is great and beautiful in its own way. But I love being a little selfish and just having the true one-on-one time with people when they're on the podcast. So just an incredible time for me. I yap and get someone all to myself. Wow. I'm a lucky girl. All right, I will stop the yapping and let's get into today's episode. I'd love to introduce you to the girl who grew up across the street from me, a chocolate lover, a very charismatic, extroverted, fun-loving Dayton fanatic. It's Hailee Gabbert.
The fact it's 2025 is quite wild, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And it's September.
What? 2025 always felt like a very far distant number.
Mm-hmm.
That was never going to happen. And now we're here, and I'm like, wow, that didn't take long at all.
No.
That was short.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Not much. I don't know if I've seen you since you've been married, so congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm a married woman now.
Crazy.
Which is crazy. That's wild.
Because usually we always have the holidays or like overlap somehow at home, but that's
Pam and
not a
Tim
thing
really
for me
just
anymore.
messed up the Snow Trail Drive vibe.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, I
They
think they
really just did us all dirty, honestly.
Oh my
Like,
God.
come on.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, how was it like having little kids back in the neighborhood and everything? Is that part at least cute or
It is comical to watch your house. Like it
yeah.
is so funny because it's just like it brings back a lot of memories of just like all of the kids running around all the time. And they're Grayling and Huxley's age. So Grayling and Huxley actually met them
Oh my
once
God,
when they were
no
over. They were like on a
way.
walk. Oh, Grayling and Huxley were like, ah, little kids, and like ran up to them. So like, I guess they're one of their sons is as old as Grayling, and they were supposed to be playing in the backyard while like my sister and them were having a conversation, and all of a sudden they're like, where did the kids go? So they're like trying to find the kids. Turns out Grayling and the little kid went inside. We're like hanging out in this kid's room.
Oh, that's funny.
So Grayling has seen the inside of your house.
Oh my God. Oh, if I was Alyssa, I would have been like going up there. What did they do? What did they change? How's it look now?
Right? Like quickly going in. Like, and my mom is like the neighborhood watchdog. And so she's always like, I wonder what's going on. I wonder what they're doing in there. I wonder what's going on. So when she came home, she would like gave Alyssa a million questions of like, what does the inside of the house look like? What
Yeah.
did they do? What happened to it? What's going on?
That's funny. Wait, that's so cute that they're the same ages though. That makes it like really
Yeah.
sweet.
Kids are kind of slowly moving back into the neighborhood. So we actually have kids in the neighborhood for trick or treat. Jake and I
Cute.
are the ones that pass out candy. So I'm
Cute.
excited to kind of see all that interaction, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, it's like rekindling a little bit, which is it's so
Yeah.
bittersweet, but it's cute to see
It's
that
kind of like
revival.
the circle of life, the circle of houses, right? Like Jake and
Yeah.
I are looking at houses right now, and so like similarly, I went into a neighborhood on Thursday to like take a look, and I was like, okay, it's like a lot of houses keep popping up for sale, and I'm seeing it's a lot of like older people that are trying to downsize,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's also like a lot of young families. Like I can see like 2 and 3 year olds running around in the yard. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's the circle of like these houses kind of cycling through of like it's starting to like get ready to have the next generation of like the Snow Trail Drive peeps,
Oh, that's
which
so
is kind of like
cute.
hilarious to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, that
How
is.
fun.
I know. I was thinking that too. Like, definitely, like, if you can get in those neighborhoods, feel like it would be fun to be one of the
Right?
founding families, I'll say, to like create
Yeah,
those traditions in that environment and everything there.
absolutely.
I have to say,
Absolutely.
I think it was so special that we had that like quintessential 90s, early 2000s childhood, like going
Oh
over
my,
to your
yeah.
house, knocking on the door, can Haley play? Or,
Yeah.
and just being able to have someone easily come over and hang out or, do things like that.
Mhm.
I like looking back at my life, I love that we had that and it's so
Mhm.
special, really. Like
I
it's
didn't realize that that wasn't normal.
same, same.
Because we grew up the way that we did, and then I went to UD and Dayton. We live in housing where UD owns all the housing, so you live next to people that go to UD, so it's a pretty safe space. So you make friends with your neighbors. So then I became friends with all my neighbors, and I was like, oh, this is the way that neighborhoods work. And then
Yeah.
I moved into my first apartment, and like so embarrassing. I go to move in. My family is down there helping me move in, and I'm in an apartment. The guy next door is out grilling, so I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna walk over, and we're gonna be like best friends for life. This will be
Yeah.
my first post grad friend." So I walk over to this guy, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Haley," and I just like start going on this like rant about my life, and I was like, "I'm graduating from UD. My family's gonna be in and out. I'm not actually living here quite yet." And this guy is looking at me like I have 3 heads, and I was like, "Oh, maybe this is just a him problem." And then I go to like like I meet the next neighbor,
Yeah.
and like same reaction. I was like, oh, people actually are friends with their neighbors in real life. Like this isn't normal.
Oh.
The normal vibe is that you're not friends with your neighbor. That's not always a given, which is
Yeah.
like insane to think about. Yeah, the older I get, the more I realize like how blessed we really were.
Mm-hmm.
So grow up in that lifestyle, which I didn't realize it at the time, but now like I wish I would have maybe held on to those memories a little bit longer, just because it really was like so fortunate. And I am trying to find a neighborhood where I'm like, okay, where is it going to be just like our house?
For
Where is it going to
real.
be just like our neighborhood? Because like I just loved it so much.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It is weird to think that that's not how one,
Mhm.
everyone grew up and truly how much of a 180 we've done. And I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it's just we know more so like neighbors can be scary or like you never know what someone's going through or
Yeah,
anything like that, like there are so many reasons for it, but it is just kind of crazy that I feel like it really was all at once, maybe a really stark difference in that, but you at least you're still in Ohio, like I would think
yeah,
that that would translate statewide or like it would maybe be
yeah.
something like that and it's No, it was maybe just small town Ohio where
It just
that's the
right. Like
thing.
I don't I wouldn't I aspire to have that. And I debate, I'm like, do I want to go back?
Yeah.
Is that where I want to, because like is that just like a situational thing where you're right? Like is it just the
Mm.
town that we grew up in? Like is that just
Yeah.
how that is and that's the only place I'm gonna find that I love so much? But like luckily Alyssa had similar experiences in her neighborhood, so I have a feeling it's just a result of apartment living in
Mm-hmm.
Ohio that maybe
Yeah.
because like you have so many transplants coming in, especially into Columbus, that
Mm-hmm.
like they're not used to it. But like I'm gonna have to find that. There's no other
Yeah.
option
That's
because it was so
true.
nice.
I feel like if it were more like long-term condo or house or
Yeah.
whatever, maybe that's more of the vibe there too. This is actually kind of crazy. But in Chicago, in the neighborhood I live in, they still do block parties. So a lot of people like they rent out
Oh,
or they,
fun.
yeah, and all the neighborhood gets together. And I feel like it's shocking to think that somewhere in Chicago would do that, but all summer long they have
Yeah,
different neighborhood like block fests and it's so cute. So I think all of that to
that's
say
so
the
fun.
vision is still there and alive, but I think it is more in those
Mhm.
neighborhoods where it's consistent people, like truly long-term neighbors to some degree.
Yeah. No, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, wait, so how was moving from Dayton to Columbus? Because you were in Dayton for what, like 8 years more?
I was in Dayton. Yeah. I mean, it was probably about 8 years total between undergrad and then post grad. I love Dayton. Like
Mhm.
Dayton has my heart. I love it so much. But it was time to move on. I had met my now husband like right before moving. My older sister and nephews are here in Columbus, so like I wanted to get over for that. And then I just needed a new job change. So my dream job came up at like a retailer that I've been shopping at, Lane Bryant, since I was like 16. Like when
Mhm.
every other girl was going to American Eagle and getting American Eagle jeans, like I simply just didn't fit into those. So I went to
Mhm.
Lane Bryant and
Mhm.
a job came up in the area that I work in. And I was like, I'm gonna just give it a shot and see what happens. And then I got it and I was like, oh crap, now I have to move to Columbus.
Yeah.
Now I've actually put this plan in motion. This is the consequences of my actions. Like I knew I wanted to really end up in Columbus just because again, like Alyssa and my husband, but when it actually like I got the job, I was like, oh, this is actually really scary. And I like didn't know a lot like when it came to living in Columbus, like where to live. So
Oh
I ended
yeah.
up just deciding to like live close to where I was working since that was technically the reason I was moving over here.
Mhm.
I'm still horrible with traffic. Highway, I still don't like them. I still don't like rush hour. So still trying to get used to that after being here for several years. So this is the first time I had to coordinate like a full move, which was
Mhm.
super scary.
Yeah.
Um, but that all like went successful once I finally found an apartment and then just being an adult and moving to a new place like well into your adulthood is a little overwhelming, I'll be honest.
So
Like
overwhelming.
y- you have to have pretty thick skin for it, I would say, because like I didn't know anybody really moving here except for like the life that my sister had built. Most of my friends still are back in Dayton. So luckily it's not too far down the road that I can easily go back to Dayton whenever I want and go visit them. But it does have its challenges of I had built this life in Dayton and then I just kind of stopped and moved here. So I had to rebuild what I had was trying to do, which was more than I probably bargained for. But I mean, obviously, it worked out for me. I get to see my family a lot more. I get to go over and babysit the boys or just hang out with the boys whenever I want. Obviously, I'm now married since moving to Columbus. When I came here, I was a girlfriend, so that all was able to like come to fruition. So like it all worked out, but it did take a lot of patience, a lot of bravery, a lot of strength to be able to do that. Of like,
Yeah. Moves are hard. I feel like not only moves are hard, but establishing that life for yourself after you
hmm
move because I've never moved somewhere where I had a partner or someone like romantically, I'll say waiting for me or on the other side of it. But I can imagine that's
sure,
really nice to have that one person there. You at least have that built-in person to do a lot. But they're
yeah,
not everything. They're not your whole world. You have
no.
friends, you left friends. Like, and I don't know if you
hmm
experience this too, but I know like you had really great high school girlfriends and college
Yep.
girlfriends too. And for me, I don't know, I hit the friend jackpot so early on in my life
Hmm.
that I feel like it's hard to meet new friends because I'm
Hmm.
unintentionally kind of comparing them to the depth and the history and the relationships that I have with these other friend groups. That's definitely not fair for them, but I don't know. It's
Right.
just like all I know too. So it can be hard. Do you have
Yeah.
that?
I mean, no, part of me, I moved here and I was like, I don't need more friends.
Yeah.
Like, I already can't keep up with the friends that I have, which I'm so blessed for, but I already can't keep up with them. I don't want to add more friends to the plate. But at the same time, like, I am such an independent person in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
that I don't want my entire life to be dependent on activities that my husband and I do. Like, I do need to like like find my own path and still be my own person. And like, I
Hmm.
think in our relationship, we are very much like aware that that needs to happen in order for our relationship to work. Like we need to have separate interests in order to be able to like come together and share those interests. And so I had to kind of like, once I finally got here, moved in and settled, I was like, all right, I got to go figure out this friend thing. And I would still say like, I'm working on it. Like it's an active work in progress, especially like because moving here later, a lot of people had their established friends. So like when you moved to Chicago, you kind of met people, I'm assuming, right away. And those were your like friends. So you're not having to actively still make friends. If you have a friend along the way, that's great. So all of these relationships with people were already established by the time I moved to Columbus. So it was just kind of like me awkwardly being like, hey, can I come to this
Breaking into the
event?
friend group. Yeah.
I'm like, so sorry I'm crashing the party here, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so, I mean, everyone is super nice, and that's just kind of the Midwest way. So appreciative of that, but it is kind of like awkwardly trying to find my way once I realize I need to actually go find friends so I can go do things that like my husband doesn't want to do, or just so that like I can be my own person.
Yeah.
Um, so that is a challenge of moving.
How have you been trying to, or like what activities have you done? I'm always curious because yeah, had a few friends in Chicago who were a part of those high school and college groups, but I'm always open to meeting more people, but I haven't really found
Yeah.
that yet. So I'd love to hear how other people are like trying to meet friends so I can try to do it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So, obviously, super involved with UD.
Yeah.
Go Dayton. I talk with UD students a lot, and they always ask me a similar question. So, one of the things that I've like super relied on is going to alumni events. Those are actually like way more fun than what you think they would be. And so, like, we have basketball game watches during the winter, and like they're having like a Blue Jackets like meetup game watch situation where we get to like go to the arena and like do a tour and then like stay and watch the game.
Oh,
They did one
cool.
for the Columbus Crew. They have like a euchre night at like a bar. So like there's all sorts of different types of events of like that was a great way to meet people because at least then you have the common ground of like we all like Dayton.
Yeah.
So you already have like that one checked off of like, at the very least if things go really awkward you can lean back to to your Dayton days and like lean into that.
Yeah.
So that has probably been like the best, easiest, most straightforward way that I've found of making friends. I also have done like other volunteer opportunities through UD. So I'm a part of the board of trustees now, but before that, I was on a
Okay,
young alumni board.
fancy.
I know, fancy. So before that, I was on an executive board for young alumni. So like, although not all of them are in Columbus, majority of them aren't. I was able to make friends that way, and it actually has provided me like a really good opportunity that when I travel, I can meet up with a lot of these people, or like even if I'm like going down to Cincinnati, I can either ask them for good recommendations of things to do in the area, or I can actually like meet up and get dinner with them. So that's been like a really like it's not in Columbus, but it's been a great way to meet new people as an adult.
Yeah.
I did sand volleyball for a while. That was fun.
Love that.
So it had been a while since I had played volleyball. So picking that back up was kind of wild and crazy. But like that was a ton of fun. I rekindled a lot of friendships from high school. So like people that I did show choir with, we met up. It was
Oh,
probably like a year ago, so
good.
need to like redo that one. And
Yeah.
then like also awkwardly, I'll be at like the apartment pool and like I'll just kind of go up and start talking to people. Sometimes that's all it takes is like you just gonna have like that 1 second of bravery to be like,
Yeah.
hey, like we're the same age. You probably can relate a little bit. Like
Hmm.
let's be friends.
Yeah.
So
And at
that's
least
worked a
have a
little bit.
friendly
Uh,
face in your apartment
yes.
building, like, yeah, a quick hi or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my last apartment, I lived catty corner with a girl, and I later found out like she was a transplant from Texas, so like she was like kind of going through the same thing that I was going through. So at first we were like kind of skeptical because we're just like two girls trying to make it in this world, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know who you are, I don't know where you're from. But once we like got over the initial awkwardness within the first couple months, like eventually like we would just like sit on our patio and drink like a drink together and like talk about a
Cute.
book. Like so that was like a really great way of just like once you kind of get over the initial like one of us had to break the ice and just kind of like get over it.
Yeah.
And again, we had the commonality of the apartment, so I think our bond actually kind of started when we started like hating on our apartment together.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, are
yeah.
you having this issue? 'Cause I'm having this issue.
Hmm.
And then like once we kind of came to common ground and we're like, oh, we're like one and the same, we then
Yeah.
became friends. So that was a good friendship. She moved back to Texas, but like that was like a really super simple way, but it does like take a moment to like take a deep breath and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, well, I love that, first of all. And I love that you use the resources you have and like just those
Mhm.
commonalities to just go and start the conversation. I do feel like you've
Yeah.
always been like, or I find it interesting to hear that you had that 1 second of fear before doing it. Because, like, Hailee, when I think of you, I think of just the bubbly, like the extroverted, the person who has no fear doing that. So I do appreciate you saying, like, it does take that, like, it drops in your stomach or something, but like you
Yeah.
persevere, you keep going and you do it. So,
Yeah. Every extrovert, I think, like no matter how extroverted I can be, and like people always say I can talk to a brick wall. Like no matter like how much I can do that, it still does take like a moment of like courage to go do that because you are talking to a stranger. Like that's not you're like hoping for the best when you go and talk to just like a random person.
mhm.
And like that's not like, necessarily the easiest thing to like do. Even if you're the most extroverted person in the world, you still have that moment of fear that comes with it. I feel for the people that are more introverted that are trying to do this. Which is why sometimes the extroverts are the ones that have to take the lead because like I'm still fearful, but at least I am extroverted at like the core of who I am as a person.
Mhm.
So like it makes it a little bit easier, but yeah, no, it still is just as scary for anybody, which is like you have to also remember that when you're like going to talk to somebody for the first time of like they're probably just as weirded out and freaked out as I am. So like we can just both be weirded out together.
Yeah.
Like it'll be
We're in this
fine.
moment together, both feeling the same thing.
Let's just both be awkward with one another and eventually we'll work through it and figure
Yeah.
out like could this be a friendship or not.
I love it. Well, Hailee and I, we know each other because, as we were saying, we grew up literally across the street from each other. So Hailee and her family moved in when Hailee was what, like 2 or 3? You were really little.
Yeah, I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, super young.
Yeah. So we always just grew up together. And it's so funny. I didn't realize I did this until my brother called me out on it, like around COVID times. But whenever I would walk back, so I would be like walking our neighborhood or whatever, and I'd come back, I'd always exit to go to my house on your through your driveway because when school bus days we would always chat or like have our closing goodbye in your driveway and then I'd go home. Anthony like was so weird. He was like, Audrey, why don't you just take the sidewalk, go from sidewalk to sidewalk across the street and like go?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I
You're
never
like, no, that's
realized
not
I
how this
did it. It
works.
was just instinct to do that.
That's
Stop at Anyone's
hilarious.
house and then go home.
You're like, this is just the path. This is just, it is what it is. Our footsteps are probably ingrained on like that spot on the driveway.
Exactly. Exactly. So I thought that was so funny, and I literally had no idea I was doing it until he called me out on it like 5 years ago.
That's so
Um,
funny.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
But again, I love that we had that childhood where we could always go to each other's houses and like it was just so fun. I don't know, I have so many great childhood memories of us playing in either one of our basements or camping in your driveway or like our Polar Express movie nights, like things like that. It's just I love that we have those memories, but are those some of the things that come to mind when you think of us growing up, or do you have other things that come to
I
mind?
think of like there's like two big things that come to mind. The first would be when we were leaving each other's houses, especially when it's dark at night, that we would like go stand out on the driveway with a flashlight as if the flashlight was gonna like guide me the entire way home. But like we would sit there and like watch each other walk across the street to make sure that we got it home okay. Which
Oh,
like mind you, our house is literally across the street. Like nothing
like
was gonna happen. We live in a cul-de-sac. Like
literally, like
safest place
maybe 10
ever.
feet, like 10 feet max.
Was I afraid that like the boogie monster was gonna come out and get us? I don't know, but we were afraid of something. So like that always cracks me up. I don't know, for some reason standing on your driveway gave me some type of relief that something bad wasn't gonna happen, but like
Yeah,
again, what was gonna happen?
yeah.
And then along with the Polar Express nights, like the hot chocolate, the nasty hot chocolate we would make our recipe book of these like just sugar loaded hot chocolates. Why our parents let us do that? I don't, did they even know we were doing that?
Probably not. Probably not.
I would hope not.
I don't know.
Because that was like too much.
Describe the Polar Express nights for the listeners, or like in the hot chocolate of it
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's really what we were there for. The movie was like fine. We were there for the hot chocolate moment.
Yeah. Yeah. During the holidays, which Polar Express is still my favorite movie, but we would call each other up and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" We would go over to someone's house. We would play with Polar Express, and then when it got to the hot chocolate scene where they're like in the train car singing "hot chocolate," one like we would be like immediately like stop it right before that song came up, and we would go make a nasty hot chocolate recipe. So one of these recipes would include something like hot chocolate with marshmallows and chocolate syrup and caramel syrup and whipped cream and chocolate chips and M&M, like anything that you can think of would go in this stupid hot chocolate. And I think our dream was to open up a hot chocolate store one day. I think that's why we were writing
Probably.
these recipes down. Like
We
we were
had
going to open like a hot
ambitions.
chocolate Polar Express store.
No clue. No clue.
So we would then like sit there and like dance around during the hot chocolate scene with our like nasty, like loaded hot chocolates, just having ourselves a good old time.
A great time.
And we would write it down in our book. I had that book for like the longest time. I wouldn't be surprised if it's still laying around somewhere.
So bad.
Like
I remember we
in
would
my
put
mind, I think
coffee
I wanted them
creamer.
to be great.
We would put coffee
Yes,
creamer in it too.
coffee.
That was the big, like the core memory for me was doing that. And yeah, I'm like, oh, we were really
Were we
experimenting
like the
with something
original
there.
dirty soda girls? Just not soda, but with hot chocolate? Because isn't
Yeah.
that a dirty soda is when you use like creamer
Yes.
in your pop?
I was just thinking that too. We were pretending to be Mormon and we didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah, maybe, but oh my God. Yeah, so that was very funny. I will say, yeah, I know we did lemonade stands, of course, in our
Hmm.
neighborhood and things too, but we were ambitious. We had some drive going on and motivation.
Yeah.
I feel like you were definitely I maybe had like a quick thought about it, but I feel like you were the one really following
Yeah.
through on the plans, hence keeping the recipe
Yeah.
book for that. Like that was not me as a
And
child.
the amount of things I kept from my childhood, of
Yeah.
things that like old pictures that I pull out of us doing hair and makeup. I think there's
Oh,
a couple pictures of us like going to the zoo. I think our dads took us to the zoo one time,
yeah.
if I remember correctly, and like pulled out those pictures recently. So
Oh,
there's a bunch of old memories and old plans of things that we used to come up with
that's cute.
back in the day when we were
There are,
inventive.
yeah, I love the pictures, but when we moved, Haley so much got the trash can. And it was, well, I really learned
I would have come
we
saved
aren't
it all.
sentimental.
I would have saved it all.
Yeah, yeah,
That's so funny.
it
The
is.
other thing that like cracks me up was holidays, like Christmas, when we would like go over because we'd had our neighborhood Christmas party like on Christmas Day, which people I tell people about. We spent Christmas night with our neighbors, and everyone's like, "You did what now?" But we would go over to each other's houses and like share what we got for Christmas from Santa. That was
Mhm,
another one that's like core memory. But we would go over to like whoever's house wasn't having the Christmas party and we would like go through all the things.
mhm,
And then we would go over to the person who was having the Christmas party and go through all of their things. And then we would just
mhm.
like play with all of our new Christmas stuff. That was also like core memory vibes.
Core, core. And I love that we kept it up like as we all got older too, and it just evolved to more of like a dinner and drinks or just like catching up. But yeah, you're right. I kind of forgot. It just started with us knowing the other was home all day and we just wanted to share what we
Yep.
got for Christmas. So then it kind of just became like,
Mhm.
let me see what you got. Let me see what you got. And then it just evolved into like a dinner or like a light apps night. And
Yeah.
then it got into the dinner with drinks and everything kept keeping up as we got older.
Absolutely.
So, aw, how
Yeah.
cute.
No, for sure.
I will say another big part of growing up, and Hailee, I mean, I'll let you take the lead here, but I remember so much of like learning so much about celiac disease, learning so much about like
Hmm.
food and food contamination and like all of that. But I would love if you could tell everyone a little bit about growing up
Yeah.
when we did with celiac disease, because it's so different than what it is now. And I'm more removed from it than obviously you are. And I see such a stark
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. So I have celiac disease. Celiac disease is an intolerance, not an allergy to wheat, rye, barley, and some oats. And so I can't have anything with those foods, which means I can't have anything like bread, cake, but like even like things you don't think of, like malt. So like a malt shake, I can't have because like there is gluten in malt. I can't have like soy, like normal soy sauce because there is, which means I can't have a lot of Asian food just like right away because of this gluten is in soy sauce. Like those are just like random ones that people don't always think of. But like you
Mhm.
would be shocked as to how much gluten is in food if you really truly went gluten free and like couldn't have it. And so when I was 16 months old, when I started getting introduced to solid foods, I just got like really sick, and my parents didn't know what was going on with me. I started to get a really big belly, but like my arms were super super tiny. So I was clearly like malnourished. I just like wasn't sleeping. I was getting sick all the time. I was like super super clingy to my parents, and like they just couldn't figure out what was happening. So my parents kept taking me to the doctor. They kept running a bunch of tests. That was like the first time I had a sucker was during like I think it was a cystic fibrosis test because you have to like sit underneath a light, and like how do you get a 1.5-year-old to sit underneath a light for like 30 minutes?
Yeah.
So they just gave me a sucker to try to get me to sit still. So I got tested for like all sorts of things, and everything came back as negative. And so I had a babysitter who was going through nursing school, and she was like, "Hey, I'm reading about this thing called celiac disease. It's this up and coming disease that sounds a lot like what Hailee has. You might want to go get her tested." So my parents went to the doctors and were like, "Hey, can we test her for this?" And they were like, "No way. She doesn't have celiac disease. One, it's like way too new. She's way too young. Nobody in your family has any sorts of like things that are attached with celiac disease. Like she doesn't have that." So they kind of put off the testing. A couple weeks later, my parents were like, "No, like we're gonna insist." So
Mhm.
I got tested for celiac, which is a blood test. So they did the blood test, came back that I had celiac disease, and they're like, "Oh crap, she actually does."
Mhm.
So they like called my parents, and they're like, "Hey, you have to get her to the children's hospital like right now. She has to get a biopsy to like get this diagnosis. So you're gonna have to take her to the children's hospital to do this." So my parents rushed me down to the children's hospital so I can get this biopsy. Like I was so sick that like the doctors really didn't know what to do with me because they were like, "We really don't want to put her under for this biopsy because we're like not sure if she'll wake up." But we have to in order to be able to diagnose the celiac. So like to like fully have a like a medical diagnosis of celiac, you have to have a biopsy.
That's so
So they were like,
crazy. I guess like looking back, I
"Hmm,
mean, I've heard this story, but to me, it's so interesting that they couldn't clear it with just the blood test. Like, do you know why it had to be an
well,
actual biopsy?
they have to look at your intestines to see like what is happening with because like basically when I have gluten, you have like villi in your
That's
intestines, and the
right.
more you eat it, the more the villi go away. So eventually
Hmm.
your intestines just like look like this.
Hmm.
So your body's not picking up any of the nutrients, and so they need
Hmm.
to have an understanding as to like how damaged your intestines actually are. And this is still the way that this is. Like you can't get a medical diagnosis of celiac disease unless you have a biopsy.
Oh, really? Oh,
So
wow.
like I'm in a bunch of gluten-free groups, and people post about it all the time of like, "Hey, I went on a gluten-free diet and I feel so much better. How do I get a diagnosis?" And everyone's like, you kind of have to eat gluten in order to get the diagnosis. So like in order to like to get it medically like assigned that you
Mhm.
have this, like you have to get this biopsy done. And so people have to like then work with their doctors to figure out how to go about it. But yeah, they just need to get a picture of like what the actual inside of your intestines looks like to be able to understand what the damage is and like if there is actually damage or if it's coming back as a gluten allergy instead of an intolerance or if it's a gluten sensitivity instead of an intolerance. So like they're trying to
Fair.
understand what about the gluten is your body doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like this biopsy is required for the medical diagnosis. So I went and did the biopsy, it came back that I had celiac and have been living with it since.
Yeah.
There is no cure for celiac disease. The only way to treat it is to go completely gluten-free. So I have been eating gluten-free since I was 16 months old. And that market has just like totally shifted in the 20 plus years. So when I
So
started,
much.
I
Like,
so much
guys,
gluten-free food.
yes. Hailee, it was so hot. Well, I'll let you tell the story, but like, it's so night and day about everything. Like, I feel like you're not playing it down, but I want everyone to know how insane of a change it has been for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So like when I started, like pretty much the only thing you could buy at the store was like fruits, vegetables, and a Hershey's chocolate bar.
Hmm.
So like still addicted to chocolate to this day, I'm convinced because that's like the only thing fun I could have from the store.
Yeah.
Everything else my mom had to make because like even at that time, modified food starch, which is in pretty much everything, was a no-go because at that time modified food starch could have wheat in it. So modified food starch can be modified wheat starch, modified corn starch, modified whatever starch. And they weren't classifying and there was no rules behind it. So I didn't eat like salad dressing growing up. I didn't eat condiments growing up because it all had modified food starch in it and we weren't sure what that food starch was. Now there's laws in place that says like it has to be modified cornstarch unless otherwise stated. So now they'll have to say like it's modified wheat starch if it is indeed something other than the corn. But so like when I was growing up, I pretty much had fruits, vegetables. When we finally got brave enough to start going out to eat, it was like a plain piece of chicken with a piece of cheese on top because I'm like six. 6 year
Yeah.
olds don't want plain piece of chicken, like literally no seasoning, plain piece of chicken.
Yeah.
Or a burger with cheese on top, no bun, obviously on either of those, and a baked
Hmm.
potato. So like
Hmm.
that is what I could have going out to eat until I was probably like 13, 14 years old, I would say, where you finally started to see stuff like hit the market. So like going out for me was never like super fun just because like there's nothing fun about that, where like my mom could get a little bit more creative in what she was making when we were at home. But the market now, like the shift that has happened where like I was eating like fruits, vegetables, and what my mom made me, to now like we went on our honeymoon in Europe and even like going over there, I was able to eat fine, never got sick, was able to eat fine every day. I'm able to like go out regularly and have fun things. This morning I went out for breakfast and had an egg sandwich because they had gluten-free bread.
Hmm.
That, if 10 years ago, would have never happened.
No.
So
Yeah.
like it is insane to see like the like absolute shift that has happened in the time that I've had celiac. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it. Like it is so much easier. It is so much more enjoyable. I love food. So to be able to like go and eat easier is so much fun. But like it does still come with its challenges. It's not like a walk in the park every day, but it's a
Yeah.
lot better than what it used to be.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like people too more are just more aware of that as well too. So I have a distinct memory of we were at this local place. We all went to lunch. It was very fun, whatever. And the whatever reason your order was incorrect and they came with a burger with a bun on it. And then they just tried to like take off the bun. And I know that happened more than once. So there was just this
Hmm.
it's fine. They just weren't aware of truly what that meant for you. Like it wasn't just a fun thing that you were saying as a 8-year old. I just don't want the
Right.
bun. Like, no, you literally can't have any
Right.
traces of it on what you're eating and everything. So I
Hmm.
just feel like even now I can't imagine too if you go up to a waiter or so many times when I'm at a restaurant, the first question is any food allergies or anything like that, where there is just more education and awareness around the impacts and just that it is a thing versus growing
Yeah.
up where maybe it's where we're from too, but there was just nothing,
Yeah.
nothing.
No. Yeah, I mean, I still struggle. Like when I go home, it's still like not super easy. I have to make a bunch of modifications to what I'm ordering. And there's
That's
still
so
always like
crazy to
when
me.
you, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
when I go to like Finley Brewing Company, pretty much one of the only things I can have is a salad where I don't have to make like a bunch of modifications to
Mm-hmm.
make it gluten free. So like there is still like a lot of places, and I mean even in Columbus, it's still not perfect. So I think there's still like it's again so much better, and I'm so thankful for it. But I think there's still like some education that needs to take place in the world in order to be able to make it better. But like Illinois is actually like a hot topic right now
Mm.
in the gluten-free community. They just passed a law a couple months ago that all of their restaurants within the state have to get like trained in celiac disease to really understand like what celiac is. Yeah, go Illinois. So like super
Okay.
hot topic. Yeah. So
Wow.
like that was like earth-shattering, Matt. Like the internet almost shut down from the gluten-free people being so excited about this change. So like that is like the kind of improvements and change that we need to see in the world.
Wow.
Because even celiac is so much different than just like a food allergy.
Hmm.
Or like a lot of people do still assume like yes, there's so much more food available on the market, but it's because so many people are going gluten free for health reasons. That like there is still this misunderstanding amongst restaurants or just people in the world of like celiac disease and just being gluten free to be gluten free are two separate things. Because like that those people can still have gluten in their diet and they won't get sick. Where like I cannot have gluten in my diet whatsoever. So like there is still a difference and some education that needs to happen around it. But it is like so much better than what it used to be. I would not have that problem of what you just talked about where they just kind of took off the bun and like hoped for the best. That doesn't exist anymore. So like it is so much better than what it used to be. But I think we still have things to do in order to be able to even improve it further.
For sure. For sure. Oh my God, I bet Europe though was so fun. I mean, even me, I mean, I just can't have dairy, but I still do it all the time. And it's not like I get so horribly sick from it like you would if you have
Yeah.
gluten. But I mean, even I go to Europe and I'm like, I can eat anything. This is so great. I feel so good, like whatever. But I can't imagine just like, yeah, being a foodie and like really being able just to enjoy and not have any qualms or just having that such fun experience eating again, I'm sure was like liberating.
They honestly are better at it than we are.
Yeah, they're so much better
Like
at food than
there's
we are.
so much better. I like I was nervous because we went to France and Italy, so like language barrier.
Mm.
There's a business that sells these little cards that has the like I have celiac disease translation. So I brought those with me everywhere to help in case like I just simply like couldn't get through ordering and
Hmm.
I needed this card to like help me explain like what this was that I was trying to tell them. But like I only really had to use it like once or twice. But
Oh
like
wow.
it is like so much like more well known there. They take it way more seriously. Like one of the things that like I don't order pasta a lot here in the States because it's hard because like you can't use the same pasta water. So even if the pasta itself is gluten free, you can't use the same pasta water as the other pasta. And like restaurants here can't understand this concept. But when I went over to Europe, I ordered pasta somewhere. And they came out to me and they're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. For some reason, there was some mix up in the kitchen. We know you have celiac. So they use the same pasta water as everything else. So we had to like remake your pasta.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, the fact that you even caught that is like
Yeah.
wild to me. The fact that it even occurred to you that is like insane to me. I didn't ask about it. I just assumed that like they knew what they were doing.
Hmm.
But they like caught it. Obviously, I'm not back there watching them cook. They
Yeah.
were able to catch that before I said anything about it, which was like, oh my God, like this is great.
Yeah.
Or like
And like they were
the
just so
baked goods, I
respectful
could
about
have.
it too. Like, or it
Yeah,
seemingly like, yeah,
yeah,
just so aware and communicative. Like they could have done that and never gone back to you. Like they probably would have here.
yeah. Yeah, no, here in the States, they would have been like, man, it's fine. She'll be fine. But even if I'm not sick outwardly, I could still be, so I could be sick right now and like not know it. Like I could be sitting here having a conversation with you and be sick. It's just not enough to actually make me physically sick.
Mhm.
So like that's the wild part about it where like it matters. Like you don't think it matters, but it does. So that little mix up could have made me sick and not realize it, but like the fact that they caught it was like, wow, they actually know what they're doing here. How great for
Yeah,
them.
that is
I want to
awesome.
live here.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Because like it was easier.
Yeah.
They had baked goods galore, so many different bakery items in the morning I could get. I was able to get like so much pizza and pasta and so many things that like I've not had before. That was just like it's just marked on all of their menus. Like it's just a normal everyday experience of life, which was insane.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah, growing up, I feel like you would always say, like, I never tasted a cake. So, like, you didn't really know what you were, quote, missing out or anything. But
yeah,
I'm sure as you've gotten older, it's been so fun to, like, actually have cake, like, try what everyone else is
yeah.
hyping up, like, enjoy some of those things
I think
that,
my first like real birthday cake that like we ordered at a shop was my 18th birthday.
yeah.
Like until my
Oh.
18th birthday, I was not able to just like go to a bakery and like order a cake for myself. And like I remember being so excited. Like I like had a party for myself. I was like, this is the first real cake I can have.
For
Like this is
real.
wild.
That's huge.
So like, yeah. I mean, it was like that was more of a celebration than my birthday itself, was just the fact that I could
Yeah.
like eat a gluten-free cake that I didn't have to make. That was like mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. For real. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm glad to hear it has been like positive for you. I would imagine things are easier,
Yeah,
but it is good for me to hear that there still is some of these hurdles and struggles and things, even with all
yeah,
the maybe education or like more prominence of this. But it is just kind of crazy to
yeah.
think about that. Haley, I have one other like big question for you. Well, I have
Mhm.
so many that I could ask, but I understand like, we can't be here all day. Um, okay, so both of my parents are very corporate. My parents met like
Mhm.
working in the corporate world, and I don't think anything of it that my mom was like is still to this day like a leader in corporate America. When I tell people her title of like CEO, amongst others, people sometimes look at me like I have three heads or they're just like in awe in things. And to me, never was anything to question. But I guess I'm
Sure.
curious too. You kind of have a similar ish parental dynamic where your mom was the corporate, like girly corporate figure, and your dad is a wood shop teacher. So
Yeah.
explaining that to people, did you ever get that reaction as well too? Or like what was it like for you in that?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I'm so thankful for my mom and the example that she set, and both of my parents, honestly, for the
Yeah.
example that they set. So when I got my celiac diagnosis, my dad was in sales, and my mom was working at a large corporation. Um, and so when I got the celiac diagnosis, my parents were both traveling for their jobs all the time. They wouldn't travel at the same time, so there was always a parent around, but it was hard to for them to think about having a kid that was had this diagnosis that they had no idea what to do about, and then both
Hmm.
of them traveling at the same time. So they had a conversation, and at that time, my dad originally went to school to be an industrial arts teacher. So he decided to step out of his sales role and go back into teaching, so that he could stay home with me, and make sure that I was okay and be able to like not have to stay at daycare as long and stay home over the summer. And so they made that decision that that's what made sense. So my
I
dad
love
started
him
to be,
even more. I had no idea that's what
yeah,
happened. That is so sweet.
yeah. Yeah, he was in sales, and then like because I was sick, they were like someone has to be consistent and stay
Hmm.
home and hang out with the kids, especially
Oh.
as we navigate like how we deal with Haley being sick.
Hmm.
Like let's consider our options here. And so that's they determined like based on career paths and what they wanted to do. My dad was okay with going back into teaching. He had the license for it, so it was easier for him to make that adjustment than like my mom being a stay-at-home mom and my dad continuing his sales career. So, and I'm so thankful for my dad's sacrifice in doing that because things could have been way different. And I like cherish the summers that I had with my dad. I'm like so very thankful that he did what he did. But so my mom then kind of worked her way up the corporate world. She ended up at the like end of her career. She was a VP in like a very male dominated field,
Hmm.
which is like an example all within itself of like talk about no fear, talk about bravery. Like
Yeah.
she had to walk into these corporate boardrooms, which was she was working at the car industry, all of these like men sitting around the table, and she was just like, "Oh, hello, like
Yeah.
how's it going?" But when I tell people about like my mom was the primary breadwinner, my dad stayed at home with me over the summers. I do get questionable looks of like, huh? But I am like so grateful that they set that example for me, and that like that honestly meant more to me than like having my mom home over the summers and like her being the caregiver.
Hmm.
Um, because it gave me the space to be able to see what I could do, so that like I am now
Yeah.
successful in my career, and I attribute a lot of that to my mom, of like I was able to like aspire to do great things because of the example that my mom set for me. But it is funny still to see the reactions of people when I talk about this, of like people kind of questioning like what is going on here.
Hmm.
um, but it worked for our family, and it was great. It was exactly what it needed to be. And again, I have a lot of great memories with both my parents, but it was always fun over the summer for my dad and I to be at home. We would go garage sailing on Friday mornings, like wake up early and go to garage sales, and he would drive me to swim team practice, and like I don't know differently. Like my dad was
Yeah.
supposed to do that, and like I am so thankful for that time that I had with him. Um, that he was able to take care of me in that way. I mean, it is just funny that like I've never thought twice about it,
No.
but other people in the world are like, "What?"
And the thing is, like, I never did either as your name. I mean, also, I was a kid. Like, I wasn't questioning anything at
Yeah.
that point in time. But yeah, like, I think maybe that's what made our parents very, like, close friends as well, too, because our
Mhm.
moms knew that sort of, like, look or, like that they had
Yeah.
similar experiences. And I think our dads, too, both took on maybe like different roles or, things like that because the traditional quote caregiver was working too and
Yeah.
everything. But I have such a smile
Right.
like on my face and thinking about your dad. Like yeah, I have so many cute memories of your dad and you doing the garage sales and like I don't know. I mean, your dad was very intimidating just because he has a deep voice, but like he's
Hmm.
so tender, so cute, and it's like
Oh, he's
so
such a
great
teddy
to see
bear.
this in a different light. Yeah.
He's such a teddy bear.
Yeah, he
And
is.
that man would sacrifice so much for me. Like that man is willing to do the most. Like
Hmm.
he is super into music, so he gave me a stereo system, like vinyl stereo system. And I called him one day and I was like, "Hey, so like something's going on. My stereo system's not really working. My like record player has this weird like oil grease thing happening at the top. Like I don't really know what's going on." And he's like, "You want me to come down and help you? Like, want me to drive the hour and a half to come down and like figure it out for you?" And I'm like, "No, you really don't have to do that. It's not that big of an emergency." But the fact that he's still willing to drop everything to come
Hmm.
help me is like, you know what, thanks, Dad. Because that's
Yeah.
just the relationship that we have. That's just like what we've done for our whole life. And he just was willing to do whatever I needed for help. And I'm so thankful to have that support from him. That like, yeah, no, he's just like the biggest soft teddy bear.
Hmm.
And he
Oh,
set such a good example of what it means to be a dad,
yeah.
for me, and what it means like truly to sacrifice for your children.
Hmm.
Because he was willing to go out of the norm and do something that like the society didn't necessarily see as normal, but like he did it anyway. Didn't think twice about it.
Oh, yeah, that's love. That is a great like
Yeah.
definition of love on all sides. So that's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
love it. Your family, I will say, such a music family. It's so cute. I feel like all driven from your dad, but you all
Mhm.
had your influences on it too, but oh my gosh, so many different systems in their basement to like listen to music differently
Yeah.
and just so many records or different like the music influence in your house was so powerful and so strong.
There's just like a random chair in the middle of our basement, and that is the chair that you want to sit in if you want to hear all sounds of the music. So like gone down there before. My dad's like, "Sit in this chair," and he'll like stand behind me and he's like, "Do you hear this out of the speaker? And do you hear this out of the speaker? And you hear like this sound and this," like he's like telling me what I'm supposed to be listening to. So like yeah, there is music playing consistently, and we take our music very seriously in our household.
Very seriously. It's so cute. I feel like that and beer are like uh
Yes.
take very seriously.
Yes.
I
There's
love it.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one.
Oh, I love it. Well, Haley, I ask everyone what their dream world is. So if your head is like up in the clouds and you are dreaming the day away, if it was your world, you were ruling things, what would Haley's world look like?
I think it leans back to like the celiac stuff of celiac disease made me who I am. Like I am who I am because of it. So like I would never want to get rid of it, but I think my like dream world would be just more education around celiac disease for like people to just be more aware of it because I think if people were more aware of what it actually is and what it means and what the implications of it were, that the world would look different. Like it would be more celiac friendly. It's gluten-free friendly. It's not celiac friendly. So like maybe there would be an opportunity if restaurants were more educated on what it is that like I could have French fries at every restaurant instead of some. Like so I would say definitely just like better education around celiac disease and what it is and what that means for people. Just for people to have like a better awareness of
Mhm.
it would be my dream world.
Yeah. I love that for a lot of reasons. I do feel like it would make people more maybe like respectful or kind or like,
Mhm.
really listen to people's needs and not just see what you're saying as possibly an inconvenience or something that's like, so different or anything like that
Yeah,
softness, that openness, I'm sure like it would uh go down into all different areas of society too.
for sure. Absolutely.
I will say, so with your celiac disease, I love how you said it's not something that you would like erase from you because it has made you who you are. Haley, I feel like something I've seen throughout your entire life is you are always authentically yourself. Like I wish I'm like envious of that. Like I feel like I have definitely lost myself or like these certain things about me that make me me, I've hidden or like dimmed in myself and I feel like at least the outside looking in, I feel like you've always been authentically yourself. You've always just been who you are. And I wonder if some of that does go back to the celiac disease and you always had to advocate for yourself at restaurants even when your parents weren't there or like my parents or my babysitter could do it a little bit but you knew the implications way more than the rest of us and everything. So I guess
Yeah,
I'm wondering, do you think that had those two kind of tie together in any way or do you think it's something else?
yeah. No, absolutely. Like from a young age, I had to know what it was. So they're like my parents love to tell this story of my grandpa tried to give me an Oreo cookie when I was like 3 or 4. And I had to look at him and be like, "No, Grandpa, I can't have that." Like I didn't know why. I just knew I couldn't have the Oreo cookie.
Yeah.
So like you're right. I have always had to advocate for myself, and I kind of am who I am. And the celiac, I think, taught me that at a young age. It taught me that I do have to like be responsible for myself. That I do have one body, and like I don't want to get sick. That doesn't feel nice. That doesn't feel good. And
Mhm.
so like I am who I am. I have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself always. And it just gave me this like early understanding of what that actually means. That I do have to be like very aware as to the things of like body awareness of like what is too much in regards to the food that I'm eating, what is too much in regards to like if I'm running myself into the ground, like that's also
Mm,
not helpful for
yeah.
anybody. And so like I really had to figure out like what is important to me and what aligns with my values and like who I want to be. And like lean into that. And I think a lot of that does have to do with the celiac, just because I've like from a young age I've had to be very aware of the things that make me happy. And then again, kind of leaning back into the celiac story of like life is short and I was super sick. I could have the outcome could have been different.
Mhm.
And I'm very grateful that like what I have is just a food thing.
Yeah.
And it's something I can live a very, very, very normal life and like not be affected by it.
Hmm.
And so like I also don't take that for granted of like I am who I am and that's like perfectly okay. And like thank God for this life that I have. Like
Yeah.
I love my life and like I am very proud of who I am and like that
Yeah.
is probably all tied back to the celiac. You're you're
Mm.
absolutely right in that.
Oh, it's so inspiring. I love it. And like you've always been that way and it's just so like genuine and it's so real and I love that about you. It's something that is like so special and I like just am so happy that that's maybe stayed consistent in your life amongst everything. So,
Ah,
that's cute.
thanks. Yeah.
I
No,
I
just
was
life
thinking
is
about
short.
yeah. Okay, I'm going to teeter off of that for my dream world. I think we should all
Yeah.
know and realize how special we are and like our attributes that make us ourselves and like value them, not question them, not like shut them off. Like what you are different and unique for, celebrate it and don't question it, especially because it's not like other people. Like that's what makes you you, babes. So I
Yeah,
feel like that sort of like
absolutely.
that and being more understanding and helpful when people um maybe have a difference, whether it's a food difference, maybe it's like a disability. I love TikTok and my TikTok feed right now I'm seeing a lot of like people with physical differences and disabilities and
Yeah,
things, and I'm genuinely learning how mean people are regularly to them because they just don't want to give them the patience or the time. Like, for example, one woman was sharing she was blind and her friend dropped her off at a coffee shop and she was asking them about their pastries that they had today and was really asking a lot of questions like, what do they look like? D- Asking them to really be descriptive in their
yeah,
responses. And she said that it was just they kept asking like why are you asking these things, and she's like, I said 3 times I'm blind, like I don't know what else I can tell
right.
you, you know, like. And it's just really sad that
Yeah,
that's people's experiences every day or even frequently. As someone who doesn't
yeah,
have any of that and I can walk in and whatever, I think it, and I think we should all be aware of how we can help each other or like not being afraid to step into those situations if you're seeing that and help someone out. So I wish we lived in a world that was more conducive
absolutely.
to all of that.
Yeah. I mean, you never know what people are going through. I try
No.
to also remember that of like, you never know. Like, I look perfectly fine. I do not look like I'm gluten free. A lot of people go on gluten free to like be on a diet. I am not that. But you never like, so you never know like what is going on with people
Yeah.
internally, and like they're asking questions for a reason. They're not doing it to be annoying. And so like I try to keep that in my mind because I have this disability. It's technically a disability because I have a disability. I like have that understanding and awareness of like even though things might look fine on the outside, you don't know like what someone's actually going through and like what they're why they are the way that they are. And like that's
Hmm.
okay. But I think people's like different backgrounds is like what makes the world beautiful, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone like being like you were not supposed to be the same. That would be really, really boring. And I think that's
Yeah.
something my mom taught me of like we're supposed to have different ideas. Like that is like why the world is the way that it is. If we all thought the same thing, life would be so boring. And so
Yeah.
like the fact that everyone is different, like some people have it harder than others, but like if we all just like had understanding that like people are different and that's okay, I think that things would be a lot different. So like, yeah, I totally like love your approach on that. Just to be more understanding, you would be shocked by like having a little bit of patience and understanding with people and like really trying to understand where they're coming from, how big of an impact that can make on someone's day and
Hmm.
someone's life.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm over here thinking too. It's, I guess, how do I want to say this? I often hear of people with like physical health things that it's, I feel, very easy for them to talk about that or, you know, be like, oh, I know someone else, like I had cancer. So it's like him going through his story of talking about that. And it's something that, yeah, maybe kind of. Maybe you feel this way too. I have no idea. Where it's just kind of a story of your past at this point, and it's maybe not as emotional or, you know, anything. And it's just a ingrained in who you are and it's something you can talk about more. But then I feel really bad for folks who have more of like that mental or emotional health things that are a little harder to bring up in conversation or, you know, harder to say, harder to see, especially if you're, you know, someone's just having a bad day and you're asking them 1,000 questions and maybe they're just not feeling vulnerable or it's too much or maybe it's too scary, you know, to like share with people. So I don't know. I always think about that side of it too, where I maybe my dream world has that component too, where people with like mental or emotional things that even are maybe scary or like so jarring that there's at least some sort of more safer spots for them to like land and talk about those things with their peers.
Absolutely. I feel like that like again, going back to like the understanding and the patience, I think people that are afraid to talk about things going on in their world have that fear because people aren't kind. And
Yeah.
like that sucks. So like again, going back to like just like the more understanding, like if people were more understanding and patient, and were willing to listen as to why someone is the way that they are, then there wouldn't be as much fear for some of these people or like a much emotional attachment to some of these things because it would just be a way of life. And like that's okay. Like it is okay to be sad. There are days I get sad that like, yeah, today was hard. I had something go on with the celiac thing and like today sucks. And like nobody understands it. Nobody gets it because I don't really know a lot of other celiacs in my life. But I do still have an awesome support system around me that like I do have a lot of people I can lean on and talk to about it. But a lot of times the people that do have this like emotional response to whatever is going on don't have that support system that they can lean on and talk to. So like, yeah, just be kind.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not that hard. Just be kind to people.
For real.
So, and
For
unfortunately, like
real.
it's sad that we have to say that like that is a dream world. It's like for people to be understanding, patient, and kind. Like that sucks. Because
Yeah.
it should just be a given.
Yeah. I agree. Well, because I don't want to end it on that sad, sad note, because that's not our reality. Do you have a small win that you recently had that you want to celebrate or like pat yourself on the back for, or just maybe even
Yeah.
acknowledge that you did?
Yeah. So I am going to an event this week where I know nobody to go celebrate the one person that I know out of this group is the one that's hosting the party. But I know nobody. And like we said earlier that I'm an extrovert, which I am, but I feel like when COVID happened, I was going to things by myself often before COVID, and then COVID happened and I wasn't keeping up with that practice. And then like again going back to like I have a good group of friends, so I just relied on them and then I started relying on my husband. And so I haven't done a lot of things like singularly for a while. So going to this event tomorrow with nobody that I know is like a little bit
Mhm.
scary, but like also very brave, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
That I could have said no to going, but I'm going, and I'm really proud of myself and consider that a win for the week.
No, Haley, doing things alone is so hard. It is so hard. And I agree, once you get out of the practice of it, it you just put up for me so many more hurdles to do it and everything. So it is a huge win. Yeah, you could have easily said no or anything like that. But
Yeah,
I love too that you're even now like excited to do it. And yeah, you do have that glimpse of fear about it, or maybe like, oh, it's different than what I'm used to doing. But oh my God,
yeah,
I'm sure you'll meet some people and who knows what will happen after that. Maybe they're just acquaintances, or maybe it's
absolutely.
just the person you met at the event. But I'm so excited for
Yeah,
you. And I love that we're celebrating
yeah,
this.
yeah, for sure. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you'll have to keep
But
me posted.
moment of bravery.
Yes, yes. Um, I'll say my small win. My small win, it's kind of nerdy, it's kind of silly, but that's the point of them. Um, I'm a huge reader these days, and I read a book
Yeah.
last weekend in a day. So actually, maybe less than a day. So
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
celebrating that.
That's not, I like to pretend that I'm a reader. I absolutely am not. I've probably read like 3 books this year, which is horrible. So good for you, man, because like that is actually like way harder than I would care to admit.
Well, maybe I'm selling myself short, but it's like those easy rom-com books, and I historically get through those in like a day and a half. So I cut out half
Sure.
a day in the read time.
We
Um,
love that. We love some efficiency in reading.
yeah. So my reading level bounced up. I now increase my reading
Heck yeah.
score. So just
I
kidding,
love this for you.
but yeah, so thank you. That was my little small win that, it was fun. It was fun to have that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Haley, it was great catching up. It's so good to see you again. I wish I could like keep
Yes,
talking to you. It's just I miss
I
hanging
know.
out, and sometimes I forget how involved we were in each other's lives. So I know that
I
like life
know.
happens and like it's kind of the evolution sometimes, but it does make me a little sad that like
I know.
that changed a little bit because you're so sweet and I really love hanging out with you and talking to you.
I love hanging out with you. I know. I was in Chicago in February and sad we couldn't meet up.
That's
But
right.
hoping to get
Yeah.
back and hopefully we can meet up next time. But I know I miss you too.
Um, yeah, well, next time you're in Chicago, everyone will be like celiac disease educated and it
Yeah,
will hopefully be
I
a
know.
great
I'm gonna have to like
experience.
take a vacation just to go eat.
Yeah. Oh my God, a foodie's dream.
I know. I'm pumped. So
That will be
absolutely.
awesome.
I'll have
That
to
will
find
be
my way back
awesome.
from Chicago sometime.
Yeah.
It was good to catch up with you as well.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. What did you think of Hailee and I's combo? It was so cute, right? I just loved it. I'm smiling from ear to ear, thinking about it. And it was just great. I really loved that we had the time to do it. So I hope you saw that in the conversation. And it's maybe a little educational for you if you did not know about celiac disease or if you didn't know like the ins and outs of it. Maybe you were of the understanding that it was more of a diet thing or just like a health choice for some reason. But truly for Hailee, it's the way she has to live and she's been living it her whole life. I guess when I do my part and make sure everyone understands it's not like, oh, just opting to eat gluten-free pretzels or, like cut gluten out of my diet. It's the cross-contamination and everything of it, as Hailee was describing too. That even impacts her. So it's just interesting to learn and know. So hopefully you have a better understanding of that if you weren't aware and maybe learn something new about celiac disease today. And I mean, I loved our dream worlds. I keep thinking about that and I will be dreaming about those dream worlds for a long, long time. I know other guests have said that respect, that kindness, and the tolerance, whatever it may be in their dream world. But I love that we took it maybe just one step further and really dove into those details and everything this week. It just has me thinking, and I am a little sad about it, to be completely honest, that that's not an automatic in our society now, but maybe things will change, and maybe it's just I have to have some hope that maybe through talking about these dream worlds, some sort of change and spark ignites because of it. I have no clue. I'm just a girl with a microphone who talks to her friends, but we'll see. We'll see. As always, I love to share a listener's dream world. And if you would like to hear your dream world on the podcast, incredible, would love to hear it. Feel free to email audreysworld@gmail.com and list out your dream world there. Or if you follow me on Instagram, I often put up prompts where you can write in and share your dream world there. This week's dream world comes from our listener, Gina. Gina said right now her dream world entails self-folding laundry or something like that that magically organizes the obnoxious amounts of clothes that her family goes through. And also, with the changing of the seasons, for it to automatically be taken out of the drawers, assessed if it will fit the bodies the following season or if it needs to be donated. Gina has 3 little ones, so I can't imagine the amount of laundry and assessing of clothes, not only for yourself, but for all the little bodies going around. So she added, it feels like it needs to be a full-time or at least part-time job, which I would agree. I love the dream world for you, Gina. I mean, I don't know what that is, but I know even for myself, cleaning out a portion of my closet for each season, I like to have some fun with it. I like to be intentional, but it can take a lot of time. And just the refolding, I hate folding laundry. So yeah, maybe if there was some way to not have to do that, and especially with all the seasons changing and all the new and old clothes, figuring out what will fit, what might not fit, sounds exhausting. So I agree. Let's put our magic wand on that, Gina, and boop, figure out make that change. So I love that for you. And thank you for sharing your dream world with us on the pod. I really appreciate your support in listening to the episodes, whether this is your first time listening or if you're a consistent listener. I just sincerely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to the my guest and to what I'm putting out there into the world. So if you want to support it in other ways, you can like, rate, review, subscribe, follow wherever you listen. You can also give me a follow at Audrey's World on TikTok and Instagram. That's just fun if you want to see clips from the podcast, behind the scenes stuff, or learn a little bit more about me. Also, if you guys would like to support This Is New, there is an app called PodZ, PODZ, and you can see some Audrey's World clips there. It's a fun little app. It's not social media per se, but it gives you the dopamine hit of the scrolling, but you're hearing little clips of podcasts, so you get to find and discover different podcasts, and it gives you that satisfaction, I'll say, of the scroll, but it doesn't feel so doomsday-y, I'll say, or it just feels a little bit more intentional because you're not just scrolling. A few episodes of Audrey's World are up on it if you're interested, so give it a try. I don't know, it's an early days app, fam, so maybe you could be a part of the evolution of it. Who knows? But check it out. Thank you so much for listening in and tuning in today. I'll catch you again next week. Love ya. Bye.